Ever feel like your energy just vanishes as soon as the days get shorter? You are definitely not alone. That heavy, sluggish feeling that can creep in during winter is a very real thing, and today we're going to dig into the science behind it. Let's get right into it. This quote from Dr. Dieter Kuntz, who studies how our body clocks affect our health, just nails it, doesn't it? That sensation of running on empty, it's like you're just trying to make it to the finish line of winter. And that's exactly what we're looking at today, the science behind that seasonal slump. So, this whole running on empty thing, is it just a bad mood? Something you're supposed to just power through? Well, as it turns out, the research shows it's a whole lot more complex than that. What we're actually up against is this kind of perfect storm of pressures. You've got the external pressures from society, the internal rhythms of our own biology, and for some, a very real clinical psychological condition. We're going to unpack each one of these. Okay, let's start with the outside pressures that really build up when the temperature drops. Because for a lot of people, winter isn't just cold, it is seriously expensive. Recent reports out of the UK, for example, show how winter just makes the whole cost of living crisis so much worse. We're talking about widespread energy and food insecurity, and these aren't just abstract ideas, they affect people's well-being every single day. And the numbers? While about 1 in 5 UK adults couldn't keep their home warm, look at how that number skyrockets for the most vulnerable. It creates this vicious cycle where existing health problems just get magnified by the season, and the pressure goes way beyond just feeding bills. This number is just staggering. 1 out of every 12 people had to eat less or even skip meals for more than a week in a single month, all because they couldn't afford food. It just paints such a clear picture of the impossible choices people are facing. And here is the key takeaway. Winter's financial squeeze isn't just about money. It is a direct hit to our health. That same research found a straight line between this kind of stress and a drop in both physical and mental well-being. I mean, when you're worried about keeping the lights on 24/7, it takes a heavy, heavy toll. But, these external pressures, they're only part of the story. What if the problem is also coming from inside? What if our modern 9-5 lives are just completely out of sync with what our bodies are actually programmed to do in the winter? So researchers in Berlin did this really fascinating study on sleep. They looked at patients in a sleep lab and discovered that even in the big city with tons of artificial light, our ancient seasonal rhythms are still ticking away. We're not exactly hibernating, but our bodies are for sure shifting gears. In the winter, people in the study got about 30 minutes more REM sleep compared to the summer. Now, REM sleep is deeply connected to our internal body clock, that circadian rhythm, which is all regulated by light. This suggests our brains are actively looking for more of this specific kind of rest when the days get shorter. And here's the real conflict. Dr. Coombs, the lead researcher, said our physiology is down-regulated in winter. Our bodies are literally trying to slow down, save energy, and get more rest. But our work schedules, our school deadlines, our whole society demands we perform at the exact same peak level all year round. And that is where that running on empty feeling really comes from. And for millions of people, this seasonal struggle is more than just a general slump. It becomes a diagnosable medical condition. So let's zoom in on what happens when the winter blues become a clinical issue. So the National Institute of Mental Health defines seasonal affective disorder, or you've probably heard it called SAD, as a specific type of depression. The key word here is pattern. It's not just feeling down. It's a recurring cycle of depression that lines up with the seasons, usually hanging around for about 4 or 5 months. And the symptoms of winter pattern SAD are pretty distinct. Instead of insomnia, that you might link with depression, people with SAD often oversleep. There's this intense craving for carbs, which can lead to weight gain, and this powerful urge to pull away from people. That classic feeling of just wanting to hibernate. So what's actually happening in the brain? Well, researchers think it's a combination of things, all tied back to that lack of sunlight. Serotonin, the chemical that keeps our mood stable, seems to drop. Melatonin, the hormone that controls our sleep cycle, gets all thrown off. And on top of that, our vitamin D levels often tank, which can mess with serotonin activity even more. Okay, so understanding the problem is step one. The really good news is that because SAD is so predictable, there are some really effective science-backed ways to manage it. So let's look at the path forward. There are basically 4 main treatments that have been proven to work. You've got light therapy, which is all about replacing that missing sunlight. Psychotherapy like CBT to help change negative thought patterns. Antidepressant meds can help rebalance brain chemistry. And finally, vitamin D supplements to tackle those common deficiencies. Light therapy has been a total game changer for treating SAD. And the idea is pretty simple but really powerful. You use a special light box to mimic the bright, natural light your body is craving during those dark months. But for light therapy to really work, you have to be consistent. The Mayo Clinic recommends a pretty specific routine with a 10,000 lux box. It's a really powerful light used for just a short session right after you wake up, and it's designed to help hit the reset button on your internal clock and ease those sad symptoms. So at the end of the day, getting through the winter slump is all about finding ways to bring the light back into your life. And that can be literal, right? And it can also be figurative by understanding what's going on and taking real steps to support your health. Which kind of leaves us with this final big question to chew on. We've seen that our biology is literally hardwired for a seasonal slowdown. So instead of just asking individuals to find ways to cope, maybe the real question is, should our society start adapting its expectations to fit our seasonal needs?